In the headlines tonight, all universities in Ethiopia will be autonomous within 5 years. The Ethiopian Development Bank allotted 10.8 billion per loan for datas in 2021. Good evening to you all. A very warm welcome to ETV News. I'm Grum Tariko. State Minister of Finance Samarita Sawaso stated that climate resilient tech support from African Development Bank through Technologies for Africa Agriculture Transformation TAAT program is enabling Ethiopia to transform its productivity in the agriculture sector, particularly in the lowland wheat production areas. The TAAT program has enabled the nation to increase productivity in heat-tolerant seeds farming in lowland areas, she said. Through the deployment of excellent heat-tolerant varieties by a strong local team of wheat seed system specialists, agronomists and breeders, and a strong commitment of the government to provide seeds and fertilizers to farmers, the TAAT Wheat Compact was able to record rapid progress in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is undertaking activities to make its all higher learning institutions autonomous in a bid to realize academic freedom, as well as the pursuit of wisdom within 5 years. Talking to ETV English, Minister of Education, Professor Birhanu Nega said, further efforts are needed to build institutions to create and disseminate knowledge. Habitam Washagri reports.
Providing quality education as well as increasing education accessibility is a key pillar to curb the socio-economic and political complications in Ethiopia. Building vibrant institutions is also playing an unprecedented role in bringing competitive, productive and skillful generation across the country. Talking to ETV English, Minister of Education Birhanu Nega said his ministry is striving to make all universities to be autonomous within a short period of time.
Overall objective and strategy is to make all universities autonomous in the next 5 years, if possible. Addis Ababa University is a pilot, if you will. This is the oldest university. We want to see if this exercise, after 40, 50 years, can go without creating any damage in the teaching learning process. So we are going to start with Addis Ababa University. We have started the internal reforms of Addis Ababa University to enable it to be an autonomous institution for the last 1 year. We are hoping that that process will be completed in some time by the next academic year. The university will be autonomous, but in the meantime we have sent a message to all universities that the future of higher education in Ethiopia is premised upon creating autonomous, independent thinking universities. Therefore, we want all of them to start preparing for that this coming new dispensation, so that they start making improvements in their all internal governance, in their infrastructure, in everything that it is that they can do to make them worthy of an independent academic institute.
The minister underlined preparations are well in progress to realize new educational curriculum at every elementary school, and recently all regional states are implementing similar education curriculum.
In fact, this coming year we are going to start the new curriculum. The new curriculum for elementary education that was prepared by experts from across the country. The Hausa University and Bahar Dar University were given the task of preparing the exams that went through so many processes to ensure that this is appropriate curriculum for the country and for the environment of change that this country is going through. That curriculum is going to be implemented across the country beginning in September. Now, the difference is, since elementary school, according to the federal system, the language of instruction is the mother tongue. This curriculum and the textbooks that are necessary to implement those curriculum would be translated to those regional languages, but other than that, the content is going to be the same.
Branu stressed his ministry is planning that higher institutions as well as other stakes to maximize their efforts to alleviate problems related with the education sector.
Lake Langano is located in Ethiopia in Oromia region, exactly 200 kilometers by road south of the capital Addis Ababa, on the border between the East Shewa zone and Aresi zone. And there are many hotels and resorts that you can find by the lake. This one in particular is 149 kilometers closer to the city Addis Ababa. When you come to Langano, I also recommend you to visit Shala and Abiata National Parks. There you will find more than 70 types of wild animals, and you get to visit Shala and Abiata lakes.
Welcome back, and you are watching ETV News. The Ethiopian government is working together with international partner organizations to provide urgent support for health services so that the health and humanitarian needs of our communities affected by the conflict in different parts of the country is met. The main supply chains include anti-tuberculosis, anti-malaria, cardiac drugs, anesthesia drugs, hemodialysis equipment, vaccines and COVID-19 supplies, and other essential drugs, according to the Ministry of Health. The ministry added that in the last 6 months, 76 metric tons of medical supplies have been sent to Tigray region by partner organizations. UNICEF, Samaritan Purse, Goal Ethiopia, Save the Children, Catholic Relief Service, CRS, Medical Team International, World Vision, UNFPA, UNHCR, IOM, SCI, Plan International, MSFH participated in it. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's visit to Ethiopia is historical and transcended age. In the meantime, Russia supports the permanent membership of Africa to the United Nations Security Council. It was also noted that Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeqa Mekonnen also conferred with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on various issues of mutual interest. Kasaun Chani has the details.
Lavrov covered 4 sub-regions of Africa as he visited Egypt, the Republic of Congo, Uganda and Ethiopia. Egypt and Ethiopia are major players in their respective regions in Africa. With 54 votes in the United Nations, Africa is an important diplomatic bloc. The dependence on the United Nations is mutual. The Russian veto is helpful for many African countries in the Security Council. African countries have been reluctant to take sides in the Russia-Ukraine war and are practicing non-alignment. The UN vote on March 17 African countries abstained.
The pipeline routes from Russia now, they're looking for alternatives. And I know that Mediterranean, including Algeria, is one of those sources. They would be asking you to help. And it's up to your company to decide, it's up to your government to decide. In our case, our experience is that when we had long-term contracts with Europe, these long-term contracts protected our interests. But a few years ago, Europe started cutting long-term contracts, saying that let's shift to the spot market. And the spot market does not guarantee that you will have a long-term investment justified.
Ethiopia and Russia need to expand their political relations in economy, trade, agriculture and energy, among other spheres, noting from the visit of Lavrov that the multilateral system of international relations must also be examined and renewed. The relationship between Ethiopia and Russia is to historic transcended age, with a very great emphasis at the moment. Russia supports the permanent membership of Africa to the UN Security Council, it was learned. It was also noted that Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister Demeke conferred with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on various issues of mutual interest, further stating Russian Federation has been supporting the development efforts of Ethiopia by cancelling the data of the country owed to the former Soviet Union and turning it into Date for Development package. Accordingly, the package will be used to modernize Melkawakana hydroelectric power and improve the capacity of Balcha Hospital, among others, it stated. Russia's FM Sergei Lavrov pointed out that the joint commission of the two countries should carry out detailed tasks. The visit of Lavrov showed that Russia still has partners across the globe and that the Western narrative has limited value in the world outside Europe.
This has had its foreign policy consequence. Recently, a leader described to me their despair at trying to work out any consistency to American engagement in the world. Characterizing the Bush, Obama, Trump, and now Biden administrations, he said, too much, too little, too weird, too weak. Now, I push back. I think the characterization genuinely unfair. In the case of each president, there were significant achievements, most recently in President Biden's rallying of support for Ukraine. But what he really meant, I think, is that those dealing with America today feel American internal politics dominates external policy in a way that is destructive of policy coherence. And unfortunately, that is an analysis shared by those who are not our friends. The effect of all this is that to our own people, domestic politics appears dysfunctional, and to the outside world, foreign policy looks predictable, unpredictable. Neither helps the cause of Western democracy.
Russia seeks to continue and expand its role in the security affairs of Africa. Russia, the largest exporter of weapons to Africa, supplies about 44% of total armaments imported by African countries. Egypt and Algeria are major importers of Russian weapon systems. Ethiopia seeks to deepen defense cooperation with Russia. Apart from this, Russia has emerged as a key external security partner for some African regions. During the visit, it was also announced that the second Russia-Africa summit will take place in 2023.
Ethiopia has participated in the coffee tasting program organized by International Trade Center in Geneva. Ethiopia appreciated the International Trade Center for the invitation rendered for the country to make an opening remark on this important event that focuses on coffee, a beverage that is very close to all Ethiopian hearts. Regarding the recent comprehensive strategy of the government, it is mentioned that the government's target to address the dire challenges and to increase Ethiopia's coffee export to $4.6 billion within 15 years, to increase the farmers' income to reach to $3.5 billion and generate employment opportunities for 2.7 million people, and its global market share to grow to 1.26 million MT by 2033. As Ethiopia is in the process of ascending to the World Trade Organization, it requested ITC to continue its all-round technical and project-based support for the prompt completion of the country's accession process. The Ethiopian Development Bank unveils it granted 10.8 billion birr loan in the completed fiscal year. The bank's quality-centered performance in 2020 laid foundation for its modern working habit for the just concluded fiscal year. Shagayamata has more on this.
President of the Ethiopian Development Bank, Yohannes Ayalew, stated that the engagement on quality work in 2020 enabled the bank to lay foundation for modernized working habits, adding that the bank has granted 10.8 billion birr loan for debtors from the total permitted 22 billion birr in 2021.
We approved around 10 billion birr for loan in 2020, expecting that we laid foundation for better performance of the bank. The loan was aimed to include the corporate and risk-weighted micro enterprises. However, due to the domestic economic growth of the bank, we approved 22 billion birr for 2021. In the bank's history, this showed a 20% loan growth.
Yohannes also added that extensive progress done by the reform built confidence on customers and made the work of the bank effective.
This year we approved many loans. We granted 10.8 billion birr loan. Earlier this time it took a year, 2 years or so to approve the loan. But now we could approve within 4 or 5 months to grant loans even to those giant debtors.
The president finally indicated that the bank is working to amount 30 billion birr loan for debtors in 2022 fiscal year by maximizing the bank's working performance more than ever.
The amount of loan service for 2021 is reached 22 billion birr, but in 2022 we have put the loan to be 30 billion birr. This shows a 30% growth, but we expect the growth rate to be more than we have planned. The disbursement rate to be given for customers will also be approximately 24 billion birr.
The Ethiopian Development Bank did maximum effort for the bank's economic reform in the past 3 years.
And finally, in Kenyan election, pollsters predict Raila ahead of Ruto by a narrow margin. A survey from Infotrack, whose results were released on July 13, also shows Raila ahead with 43%, followed by Ruto at 37%. Peter Kenneth, another ally of Raila, is also convinced that his preferred candidate is likely to carry the day within between 60% to 65% of the vote. Secretary has compiled the following report.
General elections are scheduled to be held in Kenya on 9th August 2022. Voters will elect the President, members of the National Assembly and Senate, county governors of Kenya, and members of the 47 county assemblies of Kenya. It will be the third general election after the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution of Kenya. A survey from Infotrack, whose results were released on 13th July, also shows Raila ahead with 43%, followed by Ruto at 37%.
Currently, we have Raila at 43%, we have Ruto at 37%, we have the undecided at 16%, and then we have George Wajakoya coming in at 4%, and we have David Wahiga, who is the fourth presidential ticket, at 0.1%.
On Al Jazeera's The Stream, Kenyans went on saying their opinions for their next president.
We reduce ourselves to, we are going to vote for the numbers. We are going to vote because it's our tribesmen. We don't care what they stand for. Raila and Ruto are not the best we have. We have so many good people, but we choose to overlook that.
But that's why I agree with Shiko, where the media portrays it as a two-horse race, but there are other candidates who don't even make it to the prime time, or we don't even get to see them or their campaign or anything like that. And so that's why it looks like it's so much focused on these two particular individuals and these two particular parties or coalitions. But there are other individuals, actually more than 10.
So in essence, when we focus on, well, let's look for a good leader, let's look for a good president, I think we miss the point. The problem is the system we are putting them in. So when I look around, I don't think we are going to get any messiahs who are going to turn up and sort of fix our problems. You know, in the end, we've got to sit back and say the system that we are in, that's what we need to get rid of.
Kenyan Elections Youth Debate on BBC Africa has ushered questions of youth involvement in Kenyan politics as well.
7 of you as youthful people there. Between the time you got in and up to this time that you're already getting out in the next 2 months, oh, God forbid you're not getting out. What have you done? What difference, what big difference have you done?
I have been at the forefront of creating what is the country's first micro and small enterprise policy. This country never even had one. They didn't even know how to describe an SME. What is a small, what is micro, what is an enterprise, and to what extent. I have been at the forefront of that. I have been at the forefront of working alongside other agencies to try and create youth-centric policy.
Peter Kenneth, another ally of Raila, is convinced that his preferred candidate is likely to carry the day with between 60 and 65% of the vote.
Raila will win the presidency with something between 60 to 65%.
Pollsters predict Raila ahead of Ruto by a narrow margin. Kenya has an electronic voter register, but actually voting and counting is done manually. Polls open nationwide at 6 p.m. on 9th August and close at 5 p.m. The results of the election are expected to be announced by August 15th.
Over now to a quick reminder of the headlines. All universities in Ethiopia will be autonomous within 5 years. The Ethiopian Development Bank dispersed 10.8 billion per loan for debtors in 2021. Well, you have been watching ETV News. Thanks for your company and have a great time.